But getting back to
Um,
like one of the first things you said was, I think it's in my best interest, which is kind of an arrogant thing for you to say. Like, you know what's best for me, to vote for Biden rather than Trump. But immigration is a huge issue for me. I'm an immigrant. And what I've seen happen in the last 3, 4 years, I shake my head at. I do not want to continue.
well, Biden is trying to, put some limits on it. You hear MAGA people saying, "Oh, Biden opened up the borders." No, that's not. I mean, that's not true.
What
Um,
it's not true that Biden at least made borders more open. Is that true?
I believe he lacks it more, but they tried to pass that border act, and Trump said, "Don't do it because it would hurt us at the elections. It would hurt the Republicans at the elections. We need something to criticize.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
don't pass it."
I've heard that complaint many, many times. But the pushback on that complaint is, and Trump even said this during the debate, he didn't need any legislation. And the amount of illegal crossings was, I think, near a historic low. And that's excluding the COVID year. So why could Trump do it and Biden not without any new legislation?
Yeah, I wouldn't know about that, but I do know that they had a bill, and that would have helped, and Republicans voted against it because it would hurt them at the elections.
See, but Floyd, you're
So,
a very smart guy, and it pains me when I hear you say, I don't know about that. Because what I said is true. Like, Trump didn't need any to pass any new laws, he just enforced the existing ones. He did some executive orders, which Biden is now doing. He's doing executive orders as well. And he prevented a lot of immigration from coming across. Now, some people on the left would say that that's bad. People on the right would say that's good, because we want an orderly way. We want people to come through the port of entry. Um, and I think Biden was forced to change through public opinion. What was it, a month ago, when he
yeah, well,
reduced
I mean,
it?
well, that's a good thing, right? It's like it went too far left, so Biden brought a little bit more back to center.
Yeah, but the thing is, to me, it's there should be, as much as possible, zero people crossing the border other than a port of entry. Zero. Like, if someone comes to that line in the sand, they should be pushed back physically. Physically. They should not be allowed to cross the line and then scream the words asylum seeker. That should not be allowed, because those are like magic words in order to get into the country for years. And we don't know, we haven't done extensive background checks. We don't know who they are. We don't even know if they're good for the country. Just because you're an immigrant is not a default position that you're good for the country. It might be good for them if they're truly fleeing persecution, but it's not good for the country. They might be a burden to our society for 20 years before they give back, and or maybe not at all. So this is what I call the feel sorry forism for poor people. And I've asked this question, uh, to many people, and I don't know if you've heard me ask this question, but I'll ask it to you. It, all else equal, everything's the same. Imagine two human beings, and you're the dictator of the United States. Everything's the same between these two people except for one thing. One has $5 million in their bank, the other one has zero. And the question is, you can only let one in. Who do you let in?
Um, I guess the answer is yeah, the rich person because they'll benefit other people,
Yes,
where the poor person would potentially be a drain on.
correct. Now, what's your intuition tell you about the millions of people that have come across since Biden's administration? Do they lean more rich or more poor?
Oh, more poor, obviously.
Yeah, that's not a good thing for our country.
Mm. Well, don't we need like people that to pick fruit in the farms and stuff like that? Only immigrants will do
Yes,
that.
yes, and I've worked with farmers in my own personal business who go through the painstaking task of getting the visas correct and bringing in people that they need, and they do it the legal way. They just don't have people cross the border and pick them up and then bring them to the farms. Like there's some farms that do that, but that's illegal. And the reason why it's illegal and it should be illegal is because we don't know who these people are with through the visa system. Then at least we have a better probability of knowing who these people are. That during the weekend they're not going to go do harm to society because they have this history in their former country of doing such. If we have at least background checks, security checks, like for me, the CIA or FBI, they know who my parents are. They went deep into my background. They asked for my bank statements when I crossed in and out. I've been vaccinated twice. I mean, I went through so many hoops, and I don't regret it from the point of view from the American side. Like, the Americans did the right thing with me, and I'm asking the administration to do the right thing for other immigrants. And don't feel sorry for them just because they're poor. This is the moral dilemma that I bring up. Just because someone's poor doesn't give them the right to live in this country, to see, even to get help from us. We do not have the obligation to save every human being on this planet from death. I know that's a hard pill for a lot of people on the left to swallow, but it's the truth. In fact, you can ruin a country by doing such, by thinking you have to try to save, like Schindler's List. I could have sold my gold watch and saved one more Jew. Like there comes a point where that you can actually bankrupt the country by letting in too many people in too fast.
Yeah, I don't disagree with like anything you just said. The last 5 minutes. I don't disagree with any of it.
Okay, so now if that's one of my main issues, and if I believe Trump is better than Biden on that, then shouldn't I vote for Trump based on that issue?
If that's the only issue, that's the only thing you care about.
Well, let's take them one at a time. On immigration, you said you don't disagree with what I've said for the last 5 minutes. On that issue, who do you think is better based on what I said, from my perspective, Trump or Biden?
I would say Trump, but
Okay.
but not by a lot.
Okay.
But if that's all you care about.
No, that's
I mean,
not
for
all.
me,
That's not all I care about. But I'm ticking
Okay.
these boxes off, and so based on immigration, you and I are both agreed I should vote for Trump, right?
Yes, if that's if that's the
Okay.
only issue.
Okay. Here's my second issue that I wrote down on my flashcard, and that's the whole critical theory thing. I'm very, very against males competing with women in sports. I'm against males going into women's spaces, like changing rooms, bathrooms. And I understand that's complicated and there's so many other issues to think about. But given that, who should I vote for, Trump or Biden? Who's more likely to let a woman, federally, to make a law or whatever, to let a male, go in women's sports? Who's more likely to allow that, to support that, Trump or Biden?
I guess Trump is that really handled at the federal level? I mean, I agree.
Title
Gender,
IX.
as the left say, gender is not sex, and when it comes to sports,
I don't care about gender when it comes to sports and changing rooms and stuff. I could care
right,
less.
right. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I agree. It should be about sex,
Right.
not gender.
So now, if it's about sex, and I don't want any legislation like Title IX, the changes that the Biden administration made to Title IX, I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but basically, it is more likely now that males can compete with females in sports. Now, I'm against that. So Trump has said that if he becomes president, he will not allow males to compete against females in sports and other issues like changing rooms and that sort of thing. So based on that second criteria, First was immigration, second is this. Who should I vote for, Trump or Biden?
Trump.
Yeah. So we're 2 for 2. Okay, war in Ukraine. I'm against the war in Ukraine. I don't think there should be funding for the war in Ukraine. Who's more likely to give Ukraine more money? The Biden administration or the Trump administration? And the same holds true for Israel, by the way. I'll lump them together.
Well, yeah, Biden would support Ukraine more, but I mean, isn't Trump all in with Israel though?
I would say he's all in through ideology, but when it comes to money and supporting like giving money for free, no. But even I said lump them together. But even if you said with Ukraine, Biden's more likely. So based on that, I should vote for Trump, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I could keep going like this, Floyd. And at the end of it, you're going to say, okay, Doug, if these are your values, this is what you want. You have my blessing. Vote for Trump.
Right. And again, I'll fall back what I said at the beginning, that it is still not in your best interest. And it might seem arrogant, but
I just gave you 3 things that's in my interest that I'm interested in. You conceded all 3 that I should vote for Trump.
Yeah. And I'm saying that those are bad priorities to have. That's what I'm saying. That things like the protection of our democracy, protection of national security,
but Floyd,
government corruption,
Floyd, you can't just
weaponizing
you can't walk
the
up
Justice
to
Department and stuff like that are all critical and more important than any of those things that you just mentioned.
Okay, but Floyd, what you just said to me, those are bad priorities. And you mentioned saving our democracy and whatever. I don't believe that our democracy is under threat in the way you do. I don't think that if Trump wins, our nation's going to end as the way we know it within 4 years and that Trump will be a dictator.